Pan's Labyrinth, directed by Guillermo del Toro, is a rich tapestry of mythical roots intertwined with the dark, enigmatic world it portrays. The film is a vivid manifestation of how ancient myths and folklore can be reimagined to convey contemporary stories. At its core, Pan's Labyrinth is a dark fantasy film set against the backdrop of post-Civil War Spain, blending reality with elements of fairy tales and myths. The mythical roots of this narrative are foundational, serving as a vehicle to explore deep themes of innocence, brutality, and resistance. The significance of Del Toro's mythical incorporation lies in its ability to create a timeless narrative framework. By embedding mythical elements, such as the faun and the labyrinth, the film taps into universal archetypes and allegories that resonate across cultures. This enriches the viewer's experience, making it more than a historical tale. It's a journey into the collective human psyche, exploring themes that are as relevant today as they were in ancient times. Two illustrative examples of the mythical roots in Pan's Labyrinth include the character of the faun and the pale man. The faun serves as a guide between the real world and the magical realm, symbolizing the ancient Greek god, who is associated with nature, fertility, and rustic music. In contrast, the pale man represents a terrifying, child-eating monster that echoes myths like the Greek Lamia or the witch from Hansel and Gretel. These characters are not merely creatures of fantasy, but are allegorical devices that enhance the film's narrative depth. Opinions supporting the use of mythical elements often highlight their power in storytelling. Myths are seen as carriers of human truths, and by weaving them into modern narratives, creators like Del Toro honor age-old traditions while bringing fresh perspectives. Critics may argue, however, that Del Toro's approach is overly reliant on visual spectacle, or that it simplifies the complexity of real historical events into fantasy. Challenges in using such mythical roots may arise from varying interpretations and the potential for cultural misunderstandings. Some viewers might struggle with the blend of fantasy and reality, questioning whether the myths detract from the historical context. Ultimately, the mythical aspects of Pan's Labyrinth influence the film's exploration of reality, symbolizing the eternal struggle between good and evil, innocence and corruption. They interconnect with the historical narrative, making the film a poignant study of how myth and history can coexist, each enriching the other, and allowing viewers to engage with fundamental human emotions and experiences. The creation and influence of Guillermo del Toro's universe is a pivotal aspect of understanding the intricate tapestry of Pan's Labyrinth and the haunting lore of the Pale Man. At its core, this concept refers to the unique cinematic universe crafted by Del Toro, characterized by an amalgamation of fairy tale elements, historical contexts, and profound symbolic narratives. Del Toro's universe doesn't merely serve as a backdrop for his stories. It is an immersive world built upon the intersection of fantasy and reality, where the grotesque and the beautiful coexist, challenging viewers to delve deeper into metaphorical interpretations. This universe is significant as it not only sets the stage for Pan's Labyrinth, but also enriches the film's thematic depth. By weaving a universe that is both visually stunning and narratively complex, Del Toro invites audiences to explore themes of innocence, brutality, and resistance, especially through the lens of folklore and historical allegory. The Pale Man, an iconic creature within this universe, embodies the interplay between authority and oppression, serving as a chilling embodiment of unchecked power. One noteworthy example of Del Toro's universe at work is the contrast between the real-world horrors of Francois Spain and the fantastical elements encountered by the protagonist, Ophelia. This duality blurs the line between reality and fantasy, enhancing the emotional weight of the narrative. Another example is the pervasive use of motifs like the labyrinth itself, symbolizing the intricate and often perilous journey towards self-discovery and autonomy. Supporters of Del Toro's vision appreciate his ability to craft narratives that are not only visually captivating but also rich in allegorical content, allowing for diverse interpretations and discussions. However, some critics argue that the film's symbolic nature and layered storytelling can be overly complex, potentially alienating viewers seeking straightforward narratives. This creation and influence of Del Toro's universe inevitably connect to other aspects of Pan's Labyrinth, such as its examination of the human condition and the moral conflicts faced by individuals during times of tyranny. Furthermore, it influences how audiences perceive and engage with folklore and myth, encouraging a deeper contemplation of the stories that shape cultural and collective consciousness. Through Guillermo del Toro's universe, Pan's Labyrinth transcends conventional storytelling, becoming a vessel for exploring the darker facets of history and the enduring power of myth. This universe not only envelops the film in enchanting, otherworldly elements, but also grounds it in the harsh realities of its historical setting, making it a timeless piece of cinema. The Pale Man, a haunting figure from Guillermo del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth, is often viewed as a chilling symbol of fear and oppression. This grotesque character, with his sagging skin and eyes in the palms of his hands, embodies a perfect allegory for tyrannical power and the terror it instills. He represents an insatiable force that consumes without empathy or restraint, making him a metaphor for oppressive regimes throughout history. The significance of this interpretation lies in its reflection of Pan's Labyrinth's broader critique of authoritarianism and the haunting remnants of Francoist Spain, where the film is set. One vivid example of the Pale Man as a symbol of fear can be seen in his banquet scene, where he sits motionless at a table laden with food, while a mural of suffering and child-eating adorns the walls. This setting underscores the stark contrast between abundance and despair, mirroring real-world dictators who hoard resources and power while their people starve and suffer. Another example, the Pale Man's ability to awaken and pursue when provoked serves as a dire warning about the latent danger of unchecked authority and the fragility of personal freedom under such regimes. Critics and audiences have lauded Del Toro's portrayal of the Pale Man as a powerful statement against oppression, noting how this character encapsulates the terror and absurdity of totalitarian figures. Some may argue that this interpretation risks simplifying the broader complexities of fascist influence by distilling them into a single, albeit terrifying, figure. Others point to alternative interpretations, viewing the Pale Man instead as a reflection of humanity's darker instincts, suggesting it's not just external forces, but also internal desires that pose threats. Despite these debates, the Pale Man's role undeniably connects to and amplifies Pan's Labyrinth's overarching themes of innocence lost and the struggle against tyranny. His presence in the film serves as a grim reminder of the ever-present nature of fear and control, influencing the narrative's exploration of bravery, resistance, and the quest for autonomy. Ultimately, the Pale Man stands as a vivid, unsettling embodiment of fear and oppression, with both direct parallels to historical events and universal truths about power and human nature, inviting audiences to reflect not only on the past but also on the potential horrors of unchecked authority in any era. The visual and thematic analysis of the Pale Man scene in Guillermo del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth serves as a compelling point of entry into the film's broader exploration of fear and innocence. The Pale Man, an eerie creature with eyes embedded in his hands, presents a powerful visual symbol of monstrous authority and unchecked power. This scene is a critical moment in the film, encapsulating the broader narrative themes of horror, innocence lost, and the perils of disobedience. The Pale Man's grotesque form and menacing presence not only stimulate visceral fear, but also echo historical and political allegories, drawing parallels to oppressive regimes in the blind pursuit of power. The significance of this scene lies in its ability to embody the film's central themes and confront viewers with the consequences of indulging in forbidden desires. For instance, Ophelia's encounter with the Pale Man is laden with symbolism. Her disobedience in eating the forbidden fruit unwittingly awakens the creature, paralleling the biblical tale of Eve and the concept of temptation leading to catastrophe. In real-world contexts, this can be likened to historical examples of totalitarian figures whose insatiable hunger for authority led to widespread suffering. Notable examples supporting the scene's thematic weight is the common critical interpretation that links the Pale Man to Francoist Spain, a time marked by severe oppression and brutal control. Critics often regard this scene as a vivid allegory of the era's monstrous governance, enhancing the film's narrative depth and its commentary on historical events. Similarly, the character has been compared to modern-day despotism, illustrating the universal and timeless nature of such themes. However, some argue that the vivid horror of the Pale Man scene might detract from the film's more subtle narrative elements, potentially overwhelming the audience with its sheer visceral impact. There was also discussion around whether the allegorical associations made by critics were an intentional design by Del Toro, or rather a perceived narrative imposition. Despite these differing viewpoints, the Pale Man scene is integral to understanding both the terror and beauty woven throughout Pan's Labyrinth. By visually encapsulating the film's themes, it bridges the gap between fantastical horror and historical reality, inviting audiences to reflect on how myth and history are perpetually intertwined. This analysis enhances our appreciation of Del Toro's craftsmanship and the intricate layers of storytelling that make Pan's Labyrinth a haunting exploration of the human condition.